and that's been true every year since I've been governor.
Governor, a big part.
In New York City are being kicked out of their high school to house illegal migrants, and they have to learn now remotely because of these illegals crossing over. What's your reaction to this?
I think it's disgraceful. I mean, just think about it. You're a parent in the Bronx. Was it Brooklyn or the Brooklyn? You're a parent in Brooklyn. It's a lot. You probably got a lot of single moms who are the breadwinners, so they've got to work during the day. Your kids are supposed to go to school, and then someone tells you, "Sorry, your kids have to stay home." Why? Was there some type of real significant storm or some emergency? Was there a flu outbreak? Well, why are they having to stay home? They're having to stay home because the state government is commandeering, or the city government is commandeering the school to house illegal aliens. You talk about putting Americans last. You're having these kids, you're depriving these kids of in-person education to be able to house people that don't have a right to be here to begin with. That's Joe Biden's America in a nutshell. So I think it's disgraceful that that's happening. But I think this, when I'm president, this immigration stuff, we're building a big consensus in this country. Because, some of these areas in New York City, these are very liberal voters usually, but they are, almost all of them, saying this can't go on like this. You can't just have schools overtaken, hospitals overrun, people coming in, we don't even know who they are. So this has been one of Biden, probably the biggest failure, just simply because he has more control over this. There's certain things President may not have direct control over. He is causing this. He could stop it, and he's choosing not to stop it.
As the resident Texan here, I thought I might insert a little bit on the border, because I'd say sort of welcome to the party for some of the folks that are experiencing this stuff, right? In Texas, we've spent $12.5 billion out of our budget in Texas to do the job of the federal government. And we're dealing with people, and some of you heard me say this before, 6 kids in the school district that my family lives in died from fentanyl poisoning last year. 6 in the school district that we live in. This is having a real impact on real people. And it needs to be said to the question about President Trump, right? I mean, the whole idea of what he's raising, that this whole election, it's about him, right? As opposed to it being about the issues that the American people care about in terms of their jobs, their economy, their livelihoods. In this case, actually solving the problem at the border, not just bluster. Because the former president had ample opportunity multiple times to deal with the border, whether it was birthright citizenship and not signing the executive order that he promised in 2016 to do, whether it was to actually get the wall built and have Mexico pay for it, which didn't happen. But then he signed 12 continuing resolutions after that to keep funding the government that wasn't building the wall, right? Whether it was settling up with Paul Ryan to pass an amnesty first bill. I mean, this is what the American people are tired of. They're tired of business as usual in Washington. And Governor DeSantis has delivered at every turn. So the reason I'm up here is not because it's some sort of show. I'm up here because I want for my 14-year-old son, my 12-year-old daughter, I want us to solve the problem. And one last point, talked about the election. Governor DeSantis was the one who sent a plane load of illegal aliens to Martha's Vineyard in September of 2022. And he described how dangerously close that election was. And it was Florida and New York that were the bright spots. The governor saved that election by leading. He saved that election when our polls were in the toilet after Republicans were failing to do their job. That's the kind of leadership that will provide coattails this fall and this November, and it's one of the main reasons I'm on the campaign trail with him.
I also just, I didn't mention